What's up, guys? Ronin Man here. Hey, today's episode is about very close to my heart because it's a couple of my uncles. MGTOWs ahead of their time. There's always been MGTOWs, guys. There have always been smart guys who fucking did whatever they wanted. And in fact, I think as we go back in history, I hope this one just like kicks off some discussion about some classic fucking MGTOWs. But here's my uncles, and also, I guess tales of caution, right? When you go your own way, there's some caution there. There's things to worry, can be concerned about, be careful about. But let's talk about the whole story, right? Okay, so I had two uncles, and my family is 100% from Finland. So they immigrated to the States, and they, in true Finnish fashion, they moved to like the shittiest place, the coldest, fucking most miserable city in the fucking world, besides Finland. I'm half kidding here, but I mean really, like, Finland is cold, next to Russia, and up there it is butt cold, minus 50. Not good, right? And so either way, when they moved to America, I guess where they went to the exact same kind of place they were raised in, right? So they went to northern Minnesota, up near the Canadian border, and so either way, there's two uncles, right? Uncle Paul and Uncle Oscar. So like, I got some great stories about both of them, but okay, let's talk about Uncle Paul first. So Uncle Paul was both these guys were single their whole lives, never married, but very different stories. Uncle Paul was, I guess you'd call him like a true, what is that, true loneliness? What is it, TRP? Not TRP, TFL, true force loneliness. I never knew him to have a girlfriend or anything, but he lived, they were up in northern Minnesota, like I said, and over there at that time, back in the, whenever they were born in the 40s or something, land was super cheap back then. So you could get like, you get some fucking land for like nothing, right? So these guys basically lived essentially for free. You could just basically build a house. I think the town they lived in was like 500 total, but that's pretty generous. So 500 counts a lot of areas that you probably wouldn't count part of the city, right? But either way, so they built these houses, right? So Uncle Paul he was different. He had a trailer. He lived in a trailer, and he lived near my grandparents, on my grandparents' land. And basically he just sat there, and he was a drinker. He was an alcoholic. He liked to drink. I shouldn't say he's alcoholic, I have no idea, but he definitely fucking drank. No question about that. He was very fond of the booze, and so he did his own thing, and he was a genius with mechanics. So like people would come from all over the place, and they would what's up, guys? Hey. And they would basically like have their car, something wrong with it, they just bring it to Uncle Paul, and he would come out of his trailer, stumble out of his trailer drunk, and he would stick his wrench against the side of the car, and he would tell you exactly what was wrong with it, and then he would proceed to fix it, because he was just a mechanical dude. He was like, a lot of people called him a genius, a mechanical genius. I have no idea, but he could fix anything. So yeah, they'd just leave their car there. He would stop drinking for a little bit, and then he would fix the car, and then give him some money, and then he'd go back in the trailer and start drinking again. So one day he was drinking away and enjoying himself there, and he turned on the stove. But back then the stoves, you had to have a you had to like light the stoves, like they had to with a lighter, so he turned on the gas, but then he realized that he forgot his lighter or his matches, so he went back to get them on the sofa, but then he forgot that he had left the gas on, and I guess he's watching TV or whatever, and so then he said he wanted to have a smoke, lights up a smoke, and sure enough, this reminds me of my Uncle Oscar, my second uncle, which I'm going to talk about, this factory here. But either way, you can get a look at that right there, and we'll come back to Uncle Oscar's story. But so Uncle Paul proceeds to light the smoke, and his trailer blows up. And the guy was so damn lucky. You know, they say that God is like generous to drunks and fools, right? And so what happened was he flew. The trailer exploded because it was full of gas, and the trailer exploded, and he luckily flew straight through the front door into the yard, and he missed the wall, so that he survived with no injuries. But his trailer was gutted there for a while. He had to fix that up again. But that's Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul never had a girl. He just did his own thing. He made good money. He fixed cars. He did not give a fuck what anybody thought about him. No doubt about that. He lived on his sister's land, and he did his own thing. What I got from that, is that, the thing is, man, when you go your own way, like it's no small thing, right? Because you're breaking away from society, right? So basically, society has a path for you, and we always talk about how bad it is and society is fucked and all that, but at the same time, it's not all bad. It's not like they're not sending you to the fucking meat factory, right? You know what I mean? Like the society, there's some good things in life, right, that are planned into people's lives, and there's some safety mechanisms kind of built in, right? And that's one of the only good things I can think about marriage, is that you have another human being in your house, and if they happen to be there when you have a heart attack or whatever, they can help you, right? They can get you to the doctor or whatever. Call the doctor, call 911 and 911. But either way, Uncle Paul didn't have that, so he was really on his own. Like he was truly his own man. And also he was very talented, so he was able to make money without having a job, without advertising, just by being talented, right? And that's good and bad, because I look at Uncle Paul and I remember how smart he was, and how mechanically adept he was, and just think, what if he would have done something? What if he would have got involved in something cooler, Like a guy like that, who has that kind of talent, like he could have done a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? He could have made some money, and he chose not to do that. But for myself, that's not my goal in life. My goal is not to. My goal in life is not to be a recluse, It really isn't. My goal, although, don't get me wrong, I respect recluses. My Uncle Paul was, I thought he was awesome. He was a great uncle when I was there, and he was nice to me as a kid, and I got nothing bad to say about either one of these uncles. But I can say this, is like everybody has a example, and we all have different tastes and needs and wants and education and, goals and, all that kind of stuff. And like what he had is not necessarily what I want. I like his attitude, so I kind of want to pick it apart, right? I really like his attitude. I like the fact he didn't give a fuck. I think it's like super badass that he could fix things and get paid without doing shit, just sitting in his house. That's badass, big time. And the fact that he had obviously, you don't just get endowed with, skills like this. You have to build them up, right? So he obviously, when he was younger, he must have, really gotten down to learning hardcore about how to fix cars, right? So he had those skills. He had built those skills. I respect that. And also he was in good shape, considering, everything, right? He was in good shape. He looked good. Like he didn't look like you would think, No, he looked all right, He looked all right. And he wasn't like a big obese guy, you know what I mean? He was skinny. He looked strong, like you wouldn't want to fuck with him, basically. If he was going to throw down, that might make you a little nervous, right? But he was a strong guy, and physically, and that's Uncle Paul. That's kind of the good things about him. I would say the negative things is that he was such his own man, and he didn't give a fuck so much. Like he really didn't give a fuck, and that has negative consequences too, like sometimes the things that, life wants you to do are not all that bad. Like for example, shaving, like I think and cutting your hair and stuff, like when I get up in the morning, and he didn't have long hair or anything, I'm just saying, like as an example, like when I get up in the morning and I I remember one time when I was realizing, like, why am I doing what society wants? Fuck that. I'm not going to do that. Fuck shaving. You know, I remember thinking that. And I was like, fuck, why the fuck should I shave? Why? I never thought about this. I never decided this. Why am I doing this bullshit? I had this thought in my 20s. So I stopped shaving for a while, right? Get a beard. That was all right, you know. Nothing wrong with it. You know, the beard looked fine. But, I don't know. I kind of realized for myself that when I get up in the morning and I shave and shit, I feel good. Like, I feel like ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like ready to fucking attack the world. And I feel the same way when I get my haircut. That's why I get a haircut every 2 fucking weeks. Because I got a very awesome fucking, total fucking man fucking haircut place that costs $3. And the dude is perfect every time. And I love going there because it just feels like a guy's kind of fucking place. And I love it. And it makes me feel, it makes me feel a certain way is what I'm saying. It's not about the logic of it. It makes me feel like, hey man, you know, I'm taking care of myself. I'm ready to go. I look better. I look younger. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the feeling I get when I cut my hair. And when I shave, I feel the same way. I feel kind of like, now whether, you know, who knows, maybe I was fucking, you know, maybe I was indoctrinated to think that, you know, because like in the 60s, 70s, 80s growing up, that was a common belief. And so possibly that infected my mind. I don't give a fuck. There's some level I just don't care. It's just part of me. I shave, I cut my hair. I cut my hair short. I feel fucking good, you know? I feel like fucking young. I feel fucking awesome, right? So I do it. And I think that that those kind of things are, you know, somehow these dumb little things are important. I got one friend, he gets up in the morning and he makes his bed every morning. And he thinks that fucking makes him feel good. I don't give a fuck about my bed. I never would make my bed. And I don't clean my house unless I have to, you know? It's like those things don't give me wood. They don't make me feel good. But for my friend, they really did, you know? And so those kind of things you should do. In other words, even if society trains you to do these things, you know what I mean? In the end, who gives a fuck, right? If it makes you feel good, it makes you fucking feel good, right? And, you know, that's cool, right? No problem with that. I like these kind of factories and shit. Yeah. This is guys here. Guys just doing shit, right? Storing steel, fucking moving shit around. See those big cranes up there? Moving this steel around. Yeah. All right. And they're busy. I'm not going to bother them. But okay, so we got Uncle Paul. No worries. He kind of does what he wants, right? And he didn't worry about what people thought, and I like that. But there's like some, I don't know. There's some kind of a limit, you know. You gotta like. It's almost like you can be so lonely and so fucking good at being alone that you don't gain from other people, and you don't listen to your own biological, you know, your feelings and shit that's going on in your brain, you know. And so I think it's important. Life is a balance, is what I'm saying, you know. And again, okay, this is really complex thought actually, because it's not a balance. Because some people, like Uncle Paul, were fucking exactly happy with what they're fucking doing, and there ain't fucking nothing wrong with that. I guess what I'm saying is, as a new guy, as a MGTOW, as a guy trying to choose the way he wants to live based on his internal fucking, you know, makeup, is that there's a lot of choices out there. And you got to be careful, because if you choose the wrong model, you kind of fuck yourself, right? Because then you're trying to, like, you're not happy, but you don't really know what's wrong, right? Because you're like, hey, I changed all these things, I did all these things. You know, you got to think about all the details, because you're making a decision that's gonna, the way you're gonna live is outside of society, right? So you have to really, like, you got to take this shit seriously. In other words, you know, because it's not an easy path. You're not taking a Walmart fucking set here, you know. It's not a set package, right? It's your own package. It's your own way, and with that comes responsibilities. And it comes opportunities, and with that you got to be careful about who you listen to and what you let in, and you know, including books, movies, music, whatever the fuck it is. There's a lot of information out there, and so that's what I'm doing here. We're picking these guys apart. So Uncle Paul is a great guy. He's passed away now, and the next guy lived about a mile away. was Uncle Oscar. Now, Uncle Oscar was a fucking trip, man. Oh my God, he really was. He ended up he owned a sawmill, which was super fucking awesome. And the sawmill ended up getting into, I'll try this road, I've never been down here. The sawmill ended up getting into a big Sean Connery movie because it was such a trip. It was like, had all these like pulleys and shit, or they filmed, you know what, I shouldn't say it got into the final thing. I know they filmed it for the movie, the what is it, the Name of the Rose or something. And I don't know if it actually got into the final movie or not. But he was such a trip that Sean Connery and his team came over and filmed it. And that cracked me up because it was really trippy. I used to go out there for summer vacations, and we would go down and check out his sawmill. He had this fucking sawmill, right? And what it was is the sawmill had all these pulleys and all these ropes and all these fucking belts and stuff, right? So it was like there was like a little engine. I can't remember what the engine was, what kind of engine it was. If it was a Volkswagen engine or whatever the fuck it was. There was some. It's funny, I can't remember it now. But anyway, he had some kind of motor that ran the thing, and it had all these like these pulleys all over the fucking place. And this is how he made his money, was cutting trees. It was a sawmill, and so people would bring trees by. They would pay him to turn it into lumber. And Uncle Oscar was fuck. He was MGTOW. This guy. Oh my God. He never fucking talked. Like he just didn't talk about anything. You know what I mean? Like I went up to him one time I brought a video camera. In the 80s, I went back to see him, and I brought it over, and I pointed the camera at him, and I said, "Hey, Uncle Oscar, say something," right? And he just looked at the camera like he says, he's sitting there in his overalls, which he wore every day, and he goes, he's like, "What the hell's there to say?" And I thought, that's hilarious, man, because you know, I grew up in a totally different era, you know, and we were very, you know, like, I mean, you just say something on the camera, a big fucking deal, right? For Uncle Oscar, that was a big deal. Like, what the fuck is he gonna say? He has no idea. And he wore the same clothes every day. He wore overalls. He had one pair of overalls he liked and a white t-shirt. And in his room, he had a big house, lived there alone, and one of the rooms was full of clothes, all the way up to the top. And it was overalls and white t-shirts. So he would just go and buy his clothes, and he would wear them until they were too dirty, and then he would throw them in the other room. And he never washed clothes. He just would buy new clothes. He had money because his business was profitable, so the cash wasn't a problem. He'd just go buy new fucking clothes. And then he liked those overalls, and he liked those t-shirts, so he would fucking just go buy a new one and chuck it in the old room and that he wasn't using. And when he died, he had like a whole room, like all the way packed full. Huge house too, packed all the way to the top with these fucking clothes. Everything's exactly the same. And Uncle Oscar, when he died, although like I said, he had a good business, he didn't have any money. And the reason why is because we found out after he died is that he had been paying these two lesbians to come over and give him a sauna, and I guess once a month or a week or whatever. And he had been giving them $5,000 because we had the records of the bank. He had been giving them $5,000 every time these lesbians came over and gave him a fucking sauna. So this guy was, he did not give a fuck, you know, like this guy. Because this is a long time ago, you guys. This is a long time ago. And this is the real countryside here. And that's what he did. He gave these lesbians money to come over, and whatever service they provided to him was worth $5,000 apparently. And so then when he had a heart attack and died, unfortunately the girls were over at his house. And so they cleaned him out because they knew where his money was, because he kept his money in cash, a lot of it in cash in the house. And so they cleaned him out. They got boxes and boxes of cash and left with the money. And so that was a sad thing, because we didn't, nobody knows how much money he had, but we know he had money because he was making good money from his business, his sawmill business. And so that was Uncle Oscar, and that was Uncle Paul. Uncle Oscar, again, he was a cool guy. And oh, here's another factory. Cool. And another steel factory. I didn't realize I live, not that far away from here. There's fucking steel things everywhere. I had no idea. Interesting. Yeah, so these two stories, really made me think, is like, you got to be careful. You got to be a little bit careful what you want in life, because, and what you choose, because I think what a lot of guys do is they sell themselves short. Yeah, they don't realize, like a lot of guys, like if they're getting screwed over, or if they're having a hard time, like you're watching the Chris Cantu videos where he's struggling with things, he's dealing with stuff, and what happens to a guy's self-esteem is it gets real low, and he doesn't realize that he's fucking loaded with talent, and that he's going to do great things in his life, right? That's one of the reasons why guys get married, because they think this is the best they can get. This whatever girl they got right there, that's the best one they can get. She makes them the happiest that they're allowed to be, they're allowed to get. But it's total bullshit, because if you just stay around longer, there's going to be fucking a million more people who make you feel even better. Life isn't like fucking, this is like the best you get right here. It isn't like the best meal, the best fucking girl, the best fucking job, the best way to make money, the best way to live. No, man, it's like a constant journey of learning new things and seeing new things. And that's why I like like this conference coming up in December here in Thailand. I like to meet real people, because when you get with real people and you get in front of them, you start learning shit, right? You start seeing life from a different angle, and you gain, right? And you realize, oh my God, I can do that too, When you're young, you think everything's so difficult and fucking everybody's a genius, right? But they're not. They're just fucking regular guys, right? Yeah, pretty much every guy out there is just like a fucking regular guy. The older you get, the more you realize that. So, I think that the good is often the enemy of the best. And I hope that as MGTOWs is that you're making these massive changes, right? You know what I mean? You're going off the rails, you're breaking away from fucking society, right? But what you choose, you need to be very, very careful to choose wisely, and to really take your time and to meet a lot of people, because man, there's a fuck ton of different options out there. Uncle Paul sitting at home drinking, he liked drinking, he could just drink all day. Some guys, that's what their goal is. Have a place and no one bothers them, they can just fucking drink as much as they want, enjoy their life. That's something that gives them gives them wood, right? For me, that doesn't do it for me at all. In fact, I think drinking really holds me back. Drinking fucks me over, really. Basically, drinking fucks me over. Yeah, no question about that. And it doesn't fuck everybody over, but it fucks me over. It fucks Ronin Man over. So Ronin Man doesn't do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't only, I only got one person to take care of, and that's me. Right? So I got to make the hard decisions that my life's going to be better. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but it is the best thing to do. And my life gets better when I follow those rules. So I hope it's giving you some ideas. I guess we could just pick apart these stories, and if you have any stories of anybody else that kind of as a Ronin, like a MGTOW kind of a motherfucker, but at the same time, like, you can kind of see what he has that you want and what he has that you don't want. And I think my uncles, both of them, they're listening to this right now. I hope we can fucking invent a time machine, you know what I mean? I'm really hoping for that. The science is moving forward so fast. I really hope we do, and I hope they do listen to this, because they would say, oh yeah, don't copy me exactly, right? I'm not perfect, like nobody's perfect, right? We're just trying to do our best. Everyone's doing our best, take what you like and leave the rest, right? Take what you like and leave the rest. That's the best way to be with my content, with anybody's content, with ideas in society. There's going to be good ideas in society. Society's not just like a piece of shit that you avoid at all costs, It's society's got some cool shit, And a lot of it is just picking out what is the key stuff that is good, Washing your hands. That's a good thing, Certain things are just fucking good. Even if we didn't invent them, right? They just fucking, take what you like and leave the rest. So, there you go. MGTOW's been around. Guys who go their own way, who don't give a fuck, who don't get married, don't get girlfriends that have been around for longer than you can fucking imagine, you know. And I hope we can get some of that wisdom. You know, like for example, my uncle Oscar had all that money from his like super smart fucking mechanical, you know, sawmill, right? That he had all jerry-rigged up for like costing him nothing to run. You know, that was a really smart business. What he could have used is a smart money manager. You know, they didn't have Bitcoin back then, but he could have had a smart money manager that like managed his money and took care of his risk. So that's something that Uncle Oscar could have done that would have made his life better. So he was good at one thing, he was good at making cash, but he wasn't good at storing it, protecting it, investing it, leveraging it, or anything like that. He was not good at those things. So these are the things every guy can improve. Everybody listening to this improve. I can improve. We've all got weak spots. We've all got blind spots that we can't see, and that's what I hope we can learn, like the best lifestyle. Because in the end, man, it ain't about women. It ain't about fucking hating women or liking women or anything. It's about you, man. It's about your fucking life, and it's about a goddamn blank slate that you can do whatever you want. And it's like no one can really control you. You are a free agent, you know. And I hope you use that to the best, you know, to your advantage. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go meet my friend. He's coming over to check out my place. We're gonna go out and fucking get some tasty food in this fucking Buddhist temple, which is fucking awesome, by the way. Anybody comes to convention, I'm gonna take you down there. It's fucking super tasty. $3 all you can eat. So good. Brown rice, tons of vegetables, so fucking tasty too. Super healthy too. No bullshit in this stuff. All right, guys, have a good one, and thanks again for fucking all the comments, man. I really appreciate all the comments, and like even the ideas and critique, man. That shit's gold. That shit is gold. Your wisdom is fucking gold, guys. So thank you. Have a good one.